The idea of underdog going against all the odds to come out victorious is a common yet enjoyable trope that has been utilized across a host of entertainment mediums time and time again. Anime is no exception to this rule, with some of the most enjoyable shows using characters who generally partake in delinquency to reach extreme height of power and fight against tough foes using sheer force of will. Of course, Delinquents comes in all shapes and forms, but the one common thread joining all these anime is that people absolutely love these underdogs and what they can bring to the table. Keeping this in mind, here are some of the best anime about delinquents and how they manage to succeed by finding strength and bolstering it with their willpower. So, without any further ado, let's start with our video. On the 10th number, the anime is Sakigake Chromatie Koko. Akashi Kamiyama is your typical mild-mannered high school student, polite, aloof and pacifist, with a slightly above average IQ. But would your average high school student really enroll himself at the infamous Chromatie High School, known as a breeding ground for the toughest delinquents out there? Apparently so, that is what exactly Takashi does, though for reasons that he would rather leave unmentioned. However, one thing is for sure, the hard-boiled rabbit in den full of hungry lions is never going to have another dull day. And how could he, now that he is surrounded by mohawked punks, obnoxious robots and maybe gorillas? Follow Takashi as he earnestly dedicates his new high school life to better his school's reputation while his classmates are hell-bent on breaking havoc. On the 9th number, the anime name is Angel Densitsu. The movie starts off by showing Kitano. The comedy here revolves around Kitano being so ugly and dangerous that everyone associates him with the devil. Delinquents are scared to death of him. Teachers and principals are terrified of him. Ordinary people think that he is a psychopath. The work takes place during Kitano's events and the comedy uses the misunderstandings of judging the person and thinking that he will harm someone. I really like this theme mainly because it is simple to understand and direct. Kitano is the image of an angel. He is simply an amazing person, an angel on earth. He only wants to do good, but he is trampled on, judged and humiliated, and people are scared to death of him because of his appearance. This shows not only Kitano's side of not understanding things around him because he is too kind and innocent to understand, but it also shows the contempt and need for humans to always judge someone or diminish people by what they think they are. On the 8th number, the anime is Kyokara Oreva. The story is about two boys that decides to be delinquents because they want to change themselves to how they were in the past. At first, they didn't like each other, but somehow they ends up being friends. They always get in trouble, being Mitsuhashi the one who attracts all kinds of trouble to their lives. They will fight school gangs and they will be recognized by everyone to be the toughest delinquents not only of Nayo High School but of Chiba Prefecture. Since the beginning, I was so hooked to this anime. You will laugh a lot and you will definitely love the fight scenes. You will love the characters and will want more episodes. I wanted to see more because the ending was unsatisfying to me, but that means I loved it. It was outstanding and you should definitely watch Kyokara Oreva right away. On the 7th number, the anime name is Koko botodan Crows. The story is pretty simple and follows Boya Harumichi as he starts at his new school, Suruzan Institute. It's known as the School of Crows because the community hates the student. They're all thugs and delinquents and they do little but fight and brawl. He quickly strikes up a deal with a pretty scrawny kid called Yasuda Yasuo to protect him from a gang that are beating on him and soon becomes more and more involved in this hierarchy and complex system of different gangs in the school. Honestly, that's pretty much you got in this anime. If you came to this anime expecting lot of plot twists and thrilling reveals, then you're not gonna get any. It is just good old-fashioned delinquents fighting and slag off in schoolyards, which if you are like me and enjoy watching burly guys punch each other in the face is pretty enjoyable to watch. The only problem here is that the story feels incomplete. I'm not sure if maybe they run out of funding or the project was cancelled, but there isn't any really sort of definitive ending to see here. On the 6th number, the anime is Beelzebub. Raising a baby isn't as easy as some people might make it seem, especially if the child is the son of Demon King. His urination has the power to flood the entire country of Japan, and oh, make sure to stay within the 50 meters range of the baby, otherwise you will suffer an electronic shock that will instantly kill you. Beelzebub is a 60-episode anime series following the high school delinquents protagonist Oga Tatsumi, whom one day sees a big guy floating down a river split in half and is thus given the responsibility of raising a demon baby, Baby Beel. A pretty crazy way to introduce the anime, right? Well, that's just the beginning. Accompanied by the demon maid Hilda and the dimensional transporter Elidilon, Baby Beel has been sent to the human world to destroy humanity. But in order to do so, he must find a strong human who cares nothing of his humanity to be his parent and raise him to destroy the human race. Now before moving further into the story, I would request you guys to subscribe to my YouTube channel, because if you are interested in anime, manga or manhwa content, then this is the right place for you. So if you are interested, then definitely subscribe to Weeb. On the 5th number, the anime name is Blood Lad. Stas Charlie Blood is a powerful vampire who rules the eastern district of the demon world. According to rumors, he is a bloodthirsty and merciless monster, but in reality, Stas is just an otaku and obsessed with Japanese culture and completely uninterested in human blood, leaving the management of his territory to his underlings. Stas spends his days lazing around and indulging in anime, manga and games. When Fuyumi Yanagi, a Japanese girl, accidentally wanders through a portal leading into the demon world, Stas is overjoyed. But just as he is starting to feel an unusual attraction to her, his territory is attacked, resulting in Fuyumi's death. She turns into a wandering ghost and the crestfallen Stas vows to resurrect her, as this would mean being able to travel to the human world, something that he has always dreamed of. Blood Lad follows Stas and Fuyumi, soon joined by the spatial magician Bell and the half-werewolf Wolf, as they travel to find a magic that can bring human back to life. On the 4th number, the anime name is Shonan Bakushojoku. Eguchi Yosuke is the second generation leader of the small but infamous Shonan Bakushojoku bikers. The series revolves around the lives of Eguchi and the entire Bakushojoku gang, in and out of school. In doing so, Shonan Bakushojoku maintains a great balance between the comedy, romance and drama that makes up the average high school student's life. However, whereas most of the high school hobbies include sports or the arts, Eguchi and his people likes to wear customized gakuran, which is school uniform, and ride especially loud motorcycles. While this hobby affords its own series of unique conflicts and adventures, it's not to say that there's nothing normal about Bakushojoku's life. They have jobs, girlfriends and belong to school clubs. As for the technical aspects, Shonan Bakushojoku shines in every category. The production values are surprisingly high and the animation is slick, beautiful, and especially considering it was created in 1986. On the 3rd number, the anime name is Ikebukuro Westgate Park. While the anime is about two gangs in Ikebukuro, the term gang definitely has a negative connotations. But in this series, a gang is merely a group of people that protects each other and can be hired for certain services. It actually shows that a gang can also be a good thing, even though the gangs in the series becomes aggressive very quickly, which is definitely a flaw that they still have. Their main intention is to make their district a better place and provide security for their members. I think this concept was very interesting, but the thing that definitely carried the most of the show was its main characters. The outside perspective that he has on these gangs gives the perfect angle to narrate the story, which is honestly otherwise not that great. His role as a problem solver shows what a genuinely good guy he is. He helps people just to make sure as many of the citizens of Ikebukuro as possible are happy. On the 2nd number, the anime is Tokyo Revengers. Takemichi Hanagaki's second year of middle school was the highest point in his life. He had respect, a gang of friends he could count on, and even a girlfriend. But that was 12 years ago. Today, he is a nobody, a washed up non-entity made fun of by the children and always forced to apologize to his younger boss. But a sudden news of report of Tokyo Manji's gang cruel murder of the only girlfriend he has ever had alongside her brother only adds insult to injury. Half a second before the train ends his pitiful life for good, Takemichi flashes back to the same day 12 years ago when he was still dating Hinata Tachibana. After being forced to relive the very same day that began his downward spiral, Takemichi meets Hinata's younger brother. Without thinking, he admits to his seeming death before flashing back to the past. Takemichi urges him to protect his sister before inexplicably returning to the future. Miraculously, he isn't dead yet. Stranger still, the future has changed. It seems as though Takemichi can alter the flow of time given the chance to prevent his ex-girlfriend's tragic death at the hands of Tokyo Manji gang. Takemichi decides to fly through time to change the course of the future and to save his girlfriend. On the first number, the anime name is Great Teacher Onizuka. The series focuses on the life of Onizuka Eikichi, who is an ex-bike gang leader. The man has only one goal now, to become the greatest teacher in Japan. While doing his teaching internship as a part of his studies and to become a qualified teacher, he ends up not in an all-girl class as he has been dreaming for a while, but in a delinquent class. There, Onizuka learns the importance of power and respect gained from one student. Thanks to pure luck or Onizuka's shining charisma, after internship, he gets a job at one of the most prestigious private schools in Japan to handle their problem class that made the past few teachers quit. The problem is, however, is that the children have some really smart boys and girls that have been able to drive even a grown-up crazy. Onizuka can indeed solve any issue using force, but he however wants to find the right approach to every pupil, even to the teachers that hate him. Will the most incompetent teacher become the greatest teacher there is in Japan? Watch Great Teacher Onizuka to know more about it. And I think that is for today's video, guys. What are your thoughts about this list? What are your thoughts about the anime mentioned in this list? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I post daily anime content about top 10 top 5 listings, anime reviews, recommendations, new series and all sorts of anime content on daily basis. So if you enjoyed, please subscribe, and that was it, and I will see you in the next one. Sayonara.